Bismillah, as-salatu was-salamu ala rasulillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is a quick explanation video going over questions from the topic of probability under complementary events, inshallah. So the first question is right in front of us. 8 athletes compete in a 100-meter race. The probability that athlete in lane 1, there's only going to be one athlete, of course. So the athlete in lane 1 wins. The probability of that is 1/5. I'm going to write that down. Okay, so probability of athlete A, I'm going to denote that as A1. Okay, so A1, athlete in lane 1, is 1/5. All right, let's read the question. What is the probability that one of the other athletes wins? Okay, so not this athlete, but any of the others. So we know the probability of athlete 1 plus the probability of athlete 1 not winning, and not is denoted by this little apostrophe sign, should be added together to give you 1. Okay, now what are the missing pieces? Now we don't know the total probability of we know the total probability, but we don't know the probability of athlete 1 not winning. But however, we do know the probability of athlete 1 winning. So we'll just plug that in, which is 1/5 plus probability of athlete 1 not winning equals to 1. So make probability of athlete 1 not winning as a subject and move the 1/5 on the other side. You get the probability of A1 not equals to 1 minus 1/5, and the answer to that is 4/5. So the probability that one of the other athletes wins is 4/5. Okay, let's move on to another question. So the next question is question 14. There are 3 cyclists in a road race. Cyclist A is twice as likely to win as cyclist B. All right, so I'm going to write these relationships down. So cyclist A, all right, so I'm going to just write that down as A. The probability of A is twice as likely, is equal to 2 times that of B. Okay, and that is this relationship over here. I'm going to choose a different color, and then we're going to continue reading the question. And so cyclist A is twice as likely to win as cyclist B, and 3 times as likely to win as cyclist C. So again, it's comparing cyclist A and saying that it's 3 times as likely to win as cyclist C. So A is also equals to 3 times C. Okay. Now, the question goes cyclist B, find the probability that cyclist B wins. So we need to find what the probability of just B is. And for solving this, this is not as straightforward. What we're going to do is make these equations that we have. So we have 2 equations, equation 1 which is A equals to 2B, and the equation 2 which is A equals to 3C. We're going to make B and C the subject in this, because we know the cyclist A has a probability of winning as A. But what's the probability of B winning? So that will be, if I simplify this and make B the subject and just literally divide 2 on both sides of that, I get B equals to we can just write A equals to 2 equals to B, A over 2 equals to B, sorry. And in the second one, so that is my equation for B, and for my second one, let me choose a different color. It's just going to be literally dividing by 3 on both sides and getting rid of the 3 with the C. So I make C the subject. C equals to A over 3. All right, now it would make a bit more sense as to why we did that in the next step. The next step is, we know the total of all probabilities added together would always equals to 1. So a probability of A plus the probability of B plus the probability of C, if I add them together, I should get a 1. Okay, so the probability of A, we don't know what it is, but we know that it's denoted by A. And if you look at B, now we have a relationship of B which is in terms of A, and I can just use that. So B is equals to A over 2. Just going to put that there, A over 2. And then for C, I have a relationship for C as well in terms of A, and which is A over 3 equals to 1. All right, when you add this fraction towards the left side of the equals to sign, you realize that you end up with, so if you just a brief recap of how to add fractions, you need to have the denominators exactly the same. So the lowest common denominator, or LCM, lowest common multiple of these three numbers, 1, 2, 3, is going to be 6. All right, so if you list down the table of 1, table of 2, table of 3, where do they meet up? The first place where they all meet is 6. All right, so I need to have the denominators of 6 on all these fractions. So if I want to get this to become a 6, I need to multiply the above one with the 6 as well. And this one I need to multiply that by 3, so I'll multiply that by 3 as well. And this one I need to multiply by 2, so I can get that to 2 as well. All right, so if you notice, the denominators are now all 6's, all right, by multiplying those. Now, whenever you multiply something in the denominator, the same number should be multiplied in the numerator as well. So I've got 6a plus 3a plus 2a, and it's divided by, the whole thing is divided by 6 equals to 1. All right, now this is where your algebra skills will come in handy, and we need to move that 6 now from the denominator to the numerator, to the other side. Now, the way to get rid of something which is in division, you multiply it. So I multiply this over here by 6, okay? And I multiply on the other side by 6 as well. So this times 6 and this divide 6 cancels out, or it becomes 1. And I only end up with, now I'm remaining behind with 6a plus 3a plus 2a, that's 11a, equals to 1 times 6 is 6. Okay, and now a simple division on both sides would just give me a value of a. So divided by 11, divided by 11. Okay, and this divide just gets rid of that. It becomes 1. 11 divided by 11 is 1. And ta-da, my final answer is a equals to 6 over 11. All right, we found the answer, have we? Don't think so. Let's go back. The question says, find the probability the cyclist B wins. It wasn't even asking us for A. But now we have one missing piece of the puzzle already found. Now it's much easier for us. Let me zoom out a little bit. Sorry, it's too zoomed out. Let me zoom back in. All right. Now I'll do the working out for B. B and C are much, much simpler because we already have an equation set up for them. All right, so if you remember, we had this value for B over here. B was equals to A over 2, and now we know what A is. All right, so all I'm going to do is just sub my A into that. All right, and let's see what happens. So if my B is equals to A over 2, and A is 6 over 11, just going to sub that in. So B equals to 6 over 11 and this over 2. Now let me rewrite this so it's very clear as to what we are doing, otherwise it will become confusing. So 6 over 11, I'm going to write it like this. And this whole thing, which is a vinculum sign, all right, there are two vinculum signs here. One is 6 over 11, then the whole thing over 2. So that over 2 is like a divide by 2. Now remember, over means divide. Okay, so it's divide by 2. Now, in primary, you might remember whenever you have questions like this with the divide sign, what do? You do the reciprocal by changing the divide into a multiply. So that will become 6 over 11 times 1 over 2. Okay, and when you multiply these fractions together and simplify it, you will get your answer as 3 over 11. Okay, that's your answer for A. This is part A answered. Now, while we're at it, let's go ahead and find C as well. Okay, because that's going to be used in part B. Now, C, the relationship for C was that A divided by 3. Remember that? Now, A is 6 over 11. We've already found it. So I'm going to sub that value in. Same drill, 6 over 11 divided by 3. And I'm going to rewrite this in a way that we can understand easily as to what's going on. divided by 3. And the same drill again, do the reciprocal. You get 6 over 11 times 1 over 3. And guess what you end up with? You end up with 2 over 11. And these are answers for A, B, and C. Now let's read part B. Part B says cyclist A does not win. Now remember, does not win. Okay, does not win. So I'm going to do B here. Let me change the color. It's the same as C1. Right, let's choose one. So part B says probability of A not winning. Okay. Now if you know the probability of A, we can just find the A naught. A naught is going to be, because we know the probability of A plus probability of A naught is going to equals to 1. Okay, so probability of A was 6 over 11. How much is probability of A not going to be to make it a 1? Okay, what is it going to be? Question mark equals to 1. Now one way of doing it is that you move this 6 over 11 on the other side. Okay, and you find that probability of A naught is 5 over 11. Okay, or the other way of doing it is you go to your parts over here where we found the probability of B and C. You add these together, okay, because A not meaning either B or C, because there's only 3 races like it's told in the question. So it's either A, B, or C. If A doesn't win, then either B will win or C will win. So 3 over 11 plus 2 over 11, and you get the same answer, 5 over 11. Okay, hope that makes it clear, inshallah. Alright, Jazakallah khair, until I see you in the next video.